Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for trying, Mr. Shebler. Yes, for those that have waited for this, thank you. Animal Services update. Brad, and I see Dale, our 2014 Public Services Employee of the Year, is here as well. Take it away, sir.
Just let me thank Commissioner Parker for highlighting our Turnaround, Don't Drown campaign to keep people safe out there. But thank you, Commissioners. I just wanted to start, first of all, with highlighting the staff at Animal Services. You know, they're kind of tucked away there at the animal shelter or out answering the complaints out in the field, and they're rarely highlighted for all the tough jobs that they do. And so I want to give them a shout out and kudos for all their hard work over the years, kind of tucked away back there. Really, Santa Rosa County has a pet ownership problem and a overpopulation of pet problem, and that is evident by the intake that we experience. So I'll give you some numbers. So for last week, we took in 130 animals, 43 dogs, 16 puppies, 51 cats, and 20 kittens. The week before that, we took in 121 animals, 38 dogs, 2 puppies, 66 cats, and 15 kittens. And that doesn't count the rabbits, possums, and raccoons. So in 2 weeks, we took in 251 animals. This seems like a never-ending cycle that we must break. So our capacity, we have 81 dog kennels and 62 cat kennels. So depending on if we're putting litters of kittens with their mom or however, you know, we are limited to about, you know, 140 to 240 depending on if we double up, depending on, you know, the size of the dogs and how they get along and all that. So you can see that in 2 weeks we took well beyond the capacity of our shelter, and that's not counting the 142 that were already in the shelter at the start of those 2 weeks. So we obviously have a pet ownership problem. I think the real answer, the real solution is the need to get a low-cost spay and neuter program up and running. And, you know, obviously I want to sound like Bob Barker, you know, we got to spay and neuter our pets to control the pet population, and that's probably the real answer here. I'll tell you a few things that we have going on. We have worked with after the Hope for Santa Rosa come and talk with you folks, and the University of Florida Go Gators assessment team will be conducting an assessment of our shelter operations. They're doing that
Go Knowles.
October 30th through November the 2nd. Of course, we look forward to this endeavor, and we'll bring back, you know, their findings to the board for an update from that. We placed an RFP for Veterinarian Services. It will be open this Thursday. We're excited to get a part-time vet on staff. They can help with vaccinations, the spay and neuter, medical evaluation of the animals that we bring into the shelter, and then obviously they can provide some training opportunities for our staff. We also held a partnership meeting with animal rescues and advocacy groups on September 6th at the EOC. We had a very good turnout, a very good meeting, and repeatedly the breed discrimination issue was thrown up, and so we are updating our policy, not listing specific breeds, but basing our adoption policy on decisions based on the temperament of the animal versus the breed of the animal. To help out with that rescue coordination, we've designated Tara there at Animal Services, one of our kennel Tech 2s that has been engaging over the years with all of our rescues and working the social media side. She's going to be our rescue coordinator along with her other duties, and she'll be tasked with getting the pets out of the shelter to the different rescues and then helping spread the word. We're obviously going to promote public outreach and education. We are really close to rolling out our amended volunteer and foster program, and not only we hope this will help with the day-to-day operations of the animal shelter, but also give us some shelter relief to get some of these animals into a foster environment while they wait on their forever home to be adopted. So kind of the plan going forward is to take and let me go back. So we don't want to implement a lot of this stuff because we have the shelter assessment coming, we have a vet coming on staff, and obviously we want to take the advice of the vet and how we can best manage the shelter. So going forward, we'll take the vet recommendations, the staff recommendations, our partners' recommendations, the UF assessment recommendations. We'll formulate a long-term strategy to educate pet owners and help reduce the pet population, which then will in turn help us with our ultimate goal, which is to reduce the number of euthanasias that occur at the shelter. But one thing that I want to get across to everybody is what we don't want to do is implement policies that shifts this burden to others. And I've seen that as I've reached out to some of the other animal shelters and dealing with some of our neighbors, such as, decreasing our intake or not allowing people to drop their dogs or cats off. Our staff feels like that then there's a chance for animal cruelty to start up in our county, the worse that it is. So we're not going to just implement something to reduce our numbers and not come in here and sing kumbaya and tell y'all we've reduced our euthanasia numbers, because we really just hid the numbers and pushed them off to other places. So that's one thing we're not going to do. We're going to take a steady approach to this to reduce our euthanasia numbers. So I will tell you that some other future considerations that will come up. We have been looking at the ordinance. It definitely needs a review and an updating. And most of the agencies around us, and actually throughout the state of Florida, they do a pet licensing, and that will be as we do a little more research and talk with the assessment team, that'll be something I'll be bringing back to you, because not only do we see the overpopulation problem, we have a problem that a lot of the animals are not vaccinated properly, and obviously that can spread rabies and other diseases. So that pet licensing will be a component that we could promote the vaccination of animals, but also we could promote maybe a lower fee for those pets who are spayed and neutered, and then that would help our population problem or overpopulation problem. So just a quick overview, and I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you, Brad. Any questions from members of the board? There's quite a bit of progress going on, and I know you have, as you mentioned, a couple of 2 or 3 ongoing studies, so you don't want to make wholesale changes until you can incorporate that into your future plan. I just had a question after digesting or having an opportunity to digest those numbers that we saw at the previous meeting about how Santa Rosa County ranks statewide against the other 67 counties. Do you know if, because it's total number of animals, and we have a very high amount of cats when you compare it to other animals as far as the euthanasia rates go. It's based off of primarily total animals. Do other counties, how do we compare with other counties? Is that typical that you would have a much higher cat
The cat-dog ratio, I do not know. I know Brandy and her group with Hope for Santa Rosa did that study, so I ought to have to research it a little further for me to give you that kind of input. Just talking with others, obviously, we ran a thing on our social media here a while back and talking about the number of cats and let's say just 6 kittens, and then 8 months from now there's 6 times 6 kittens, and then 6 times 6 times 6 kittens. So in a year and a half, you can have a whole lot of kittens out there. So a lot of people a lot of people have the low-cost spay and neuter, which is obviously the biggest thing. When you're talking about people having to spend $100 to $120 to get their animal fixed, they're probably not going to do that. So if we can get that low-cost spay and neuter as an option for our citizens, and we do have a program that helps out with some, but just not the massive amount that we need, and we need to do public education and outreach to get that across to the pet owners.
Okay. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Brad, thank you for your work on this, and Dale and Brandy, thank you for bringing this to my attention a few weeks ago, and everybody taking hold of this, taking ownership of this and moving it forward. So, thank you.
Is there any action for the board? No? When will you follow up again? Just for those listening might want to know.
We'll get, I believe there's a report out at the end of that week, and then I'm assuming that they'll do a follow-up written report to us after that, and when I get that back. So I'm thinking the November meeting, depending on how the timing falls out with us only having one that month, it may be the 1st of December.
Thank you. Thank you, Dale. So no action on that item, Mr. Chairman. We move to item number 2, which is Section 5311 Public Transportation Grant Award. Oh, I apologize.
It's okay.
Snuck up on me like a shapeshifter.
Stealthy like a cat.
Name and address for the record, please.
Brandy Winkleman, 5764 Charlene Drive, Milton. You had asked about the cats. So
Yes.
I have been gathering data for 8 years now. So other counties, most counties across the state of Florida that have better percentages, it's because they've implemented a trap, neuter, and return program. So that's one thing that we're pushing for countywide. We're working with Gulf Breeze actually right now I've been working with the police chief and the city manager over there because they have a high density problem of feral cats. Our county, it's estimated to have around 30,000 feral cats. And if you got the math that Brad just put forth to you, that will increase exponentially each year because we're not doing anything about it. The trap and euthanize apparently isn't working, and it is making our numbers worse. So if you look at other numbers for other counties, the numbers for cats aren't necessarily as high, and the way that we gathered our statistics was we took overall intake versus the overall euthanasia, and we found the percentage that way. So our 93% kill rate for cats really is pushing us overboard, and we can definitely lower that if we were fixing them and releasing them to other areas, or to the areas, as long as the private owners allowed it, as most people want. I didn't know, did I answer your question about the cats?
Yes, yeah, I think ultimately that we could reduce our numbers significantly if we are able to help solve that problem that we have with cats, if it's disproportionately more than the other.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say thank you for helping to promote responsible pet ownership, and I think your advocacy has made a significant impact, your advocacy and others, and shining a light on this, and that an improvement was needed, and I think everybody's leaning in now.
Good. Well, I mean, we take 30 to 60 animals every 2 weeks. Tonight, we're taking 35 animals. I load up at 4 a.m. in the morning to take them to Operation Spay Bay in Panama City. So that's about a 2-hour drive over there. So we would love help getting a low-cost spay neuter clinic opened up here. Of course, we're a small nonprofit. We've only been actually in business for a year now, September.
It's a lot of success for 1 year.
Well, it just kind of came out like that. But like I said, I've been gathering stats for a really long time and really working on the animal issues. I agree with Brad. It's definitely lessening intake is going to be the main thing that we're working on right now. Because limiting intake isn't going to help, lessening intake will. So if you ever have any ideas of how we can get a low-cost clinic opened up sooner, we're more than happy to help run it or help get it going. I work in the clinic all day whenever I drive over there. So tomorrow I'll be in Panama City I get there at 7 a.m. and I leave there at 3 in the afternoon. And then I come back and bring them all back. So I'm all ears for all ideas.
Thank you so much for what you do.
Sure.
And there's going to be a significant amount of activity between now and the end of the year, it sounds like.